Thanks, Richard. Colleagues, I think lawyers are an easy target for a bad press, whether that's as solicitors, advocates or judges. Now, I believe that's often because we have to tell people the hard facts, the truth that no one wants to hear. But of course, in the 21st century, not only does the messenger get shot, he or she now also gets abused on websites and on blogs. Apparently, I've got a picture on Scotland Against Crooked Lawyers website under the title Rogues Gallery. My crime? Well, having the temerity of suggesting that that group was a bunch of crazy crackpots. Although secretly, I have to say I was delighted to be in the gallery, because in that gallery there's photographs of Scotland's top judges. I think we live in an age of blame for telling the truth, an age where taking responsibility is often the last thing on too many people's minds. In the case of the judiciary, tough decisions have to be made in, day out. When our judges are upholding fundamental human rights or showing compassion, it's so easy for politicians and indeed journalists to take pot shots and make cheap political capital by attacking their decisions. Now, there are some very important issues coming up, not least the independence of our judiciary and, of course, the very contentious proposed 42 days detention without charge, which I think should all make us very concerned. I think there's never been a more important time for high-quality legal journalism in Scotland. Journalism that's independent of mind and not afraid to tackle controversial subjects where nothing is taboo. Journalism that perhaps is like a good friend who can tell you like it is, your strengths, your weaknesses, warts and all. And I believe there is only one legal magazine in Scotland that fits that bill. Now, just a quick glance of the last few issues of the firm I think is testimony to that. For example, in March, the firm examined our National Health Service, which is a sacred cow loved and respected, I'm sure, by everybody. Yet patients are going in for treatment and contracting serious infections from MRSA. Many have died, as the firm highlighted in March. And of course, Glasgow's Cameron Fife, who I think is here with us tonight, is taking the lead on litigation in that area. And incredibly, the NHS is arguing that it has no duty to ensure that there's a clean hospital where staff wash their hands. I think that's incredible. And of course, just last night, the BBC reported concerns from surgeons across the UK that operations were being cancelled because theatre equipment was not properly sterilised. In January, we heard concerns of the Glasgow Bar Association about criminal justice decisions being devolved to the police and fiscals, where increasingly I think guilt and justice is becoming a mere administrative function. The issue of what a solicitor can and cannot say, and I'll have to be careful here, after a trial was examined in the December edition, where a debate on Amar Anwar's alleged contempt of court case took place. And of course, Amar's two-day trial is coming up next week in Edinburgh. I think it's fair to say that the firm's analysis of the issues involved there, and there's a lot of complicated issues involved there, was well balanced and fair. The future shape of and structure of Scotland's legal profession was debated in the February edition of the firm, with the prospects, quite a scary prospect in my view, of the banks and supermarkets owning firms and delivering legal services. And I noted on the Herald's website this afternoon that the OFT has now accused Tesco's and several other supermarkets of price fixing. This is our future. I was heartened to see Frank McGrath Thompson's lawyers in Glasgow demolish the consumer lobby's case for treating legal services as commodities. Try telling the families of the Stockline disaster or someone dying from an industrial disease that they are consuming justice, said Frank. And of course, he's absolutely right. Justice is not something to be traded and sold like a cheap tin of beans. So the need for a fair and well-balanced platform to encourage and progress legal debate, I think, is self-evident. And I think the legal profession needs provocative debate. We need to be challenged, and we also need to challenge as well. And of course, the new edition, which is about to be launched tonight, already is tackling some hard-hitting and controversial issues, with an expose on the way that some trainee solicitors are being treated and ultimately abused by their own firms. And I hope the Law Society of Scotland reads the firm and takes on board these issues and roots out the type of behaviour which the firm is highlighting in its new launch edition. So on behalf of my colleagues in the legal profession, I'd like to congratulate Richard and Stephen and all, obviously, who work on the firm for their success to date, which I think has been significant.